Hello, and welcome to Glow Up Girly, where we are here to help you heal, grow, and glow. I am your local auntie, TT Rosie, and today our topic of discussion is reasons why you should possibly let go of some of your family members. So, specifically, reasons why cutting off certain family members is absolutely necessary. I don't know if you noticed, guys, but these days I've been hearing a lot about people cutting off their family members or going no contact with certain members of their family. Even some people are going no contact with their parents, right? And I know that there's a saying that used to go back in the day, like blood is thicker than water or things like that. But I'm here to tell you that it's not true. Being someone's blood does not give them the right or the authority to cause chaos in your life, whether they're family or not, whether they're blood or not. So today we are going to deep dive and really talk about, what are the reasons why you should possibly let go of some of your family members, right? So if you see me looking down, I have notes. I want to make sure that I'm not leaving anything out. So please forgive me if I'm looking down. I'm just checking out my notes that I have, right? So um, point number one, we'll go over 5 points, right? So, point number one is that family, they could be the first place where you learn your toxic behavior. I know a lot of times when we talk about glowing up, we talk about a lot of toxic relationships, right? That put us through so much that we need to change and glow up. And mainly, you hear it a lot when it comes to romantic relationships. You hear that, oh, this person was so toxic in my life. They hurt me. They did this to me. They did that to me. But a lot of times people are toxic because that's what's been ingrained in them from day one since they were younger. Not making excuses for them, but it's just kind of giving insight as to why they are the way that they are. Let me take a quick sip. Oh, excuse me. When I talk, my mouth gets dry because I talk a lot. So sometimes, I'm recording more than one video. So, excuse me. Oh, if you're wondering, this is blueberry Arizona white tea. I just discovered this and it's actually pretty good. Let me take another sip. All right, sorry about that. Let's go ahead and finish getting into the topic, right? So I think a lot of times um we tolerate the toxicity in our family members because they are our families. That's all that we know, right? But as we get older, we really need to evaluate and reevaluate our relationships that we are in. So, and this includes your family. The same way you reevaluate your friendships, your romantic relationships, and even your jobs, those are relationships. You should do that with your family as well because not all family is family. You can have friends that you've known for years who are better family to you than your actual physical family, right? So when you think of family, it'll be nice to think of it as, oh, it was all love, they helped me to grow, but that's not always the case. You have family members who they could be manipulative. Many people grew up in households, right? And it does not always come in the, can I say abuse? Can I say that? Abuse? I don't know. I don't know if I can say that word, but it does not always come in the form of physical. It could be mental, emotional, financial. So with those types of relationships with your family members, when you see that, it is to me, it's best to try to figure a way out. Sometimes it's not always easy because you could be stuck in a situation where you live with those family members and you may not be in a position to just get up and go. But if you are in a toxic relationship with your family, I think that that would be a good opportunity for you to start planning on an exit, on getting away instead of remaining in it if you can. Not every situation is the same. So not everyone can't just leave. You can have things going on with you, maybe mentally or physically, that's blocking you from being able to be independent or to be able to leave, right? But if you can get away from those people who are bringing you down and draining your energy, then definitely do all that you can to get away. So that was number one. Number one was just, just they're the first place where you learn that toxic behavior, right? And when you learn that toxic behavior, it becomes ingrained in you. And maybe when you're younger, you might think that that those things are bad and they're wrong. But when it's been ingrained in you for so long, sometimes you become that. For example, you can have a parent that calls you out your name. You can debate with me if you want to, but that's not okay. It's not okay to call your kids out their name. It's not okay to call your daughters the B word and your sons whatever, the F word or whatever. It's not okay. That's is emotional. It's not okay to talk to your kids like that. You can argue with me if you want to. If you want to argue with me in the comments. I don't know. But it's not okay. And what happens is we become used to it. We become used to being talked to like that and being treated like that to the point where we think it's okay. So when we grow up and we have our own kids, then we start to call our daughters and sons out of their name as well and think that it's cool and think it's okay. But it's not okay. Love your kids, hug them, kiss them, tell them I love you, sweetheart, baby, honey. And this new word I learned, sunshine. Women call their sons their sunshine. That's what we should be calling our kids. But when you're growing up in a family that respect is not there, how can you give respect when you don't know how to, when it has not been taught to you, right? All right, so let's go ahead and move on to number two, right? So guilt is not a good reason to stay in the harm's way. For example, I listen to a lot of Reddit stories, right? And so when I listen to these stories, a lot of times I hear about toxic parents, right? And they make their children feel so guilty, and those children just stay in those relationships with those parents. How many times have you heard of parents that say, "Oh, what about all I've done for you? All I've given up for you. I lost my body for you. I'm not skinny anymore because I had you and your brother." And it's not funny, but or they say all the money that I've spent on you, and you don't owe them anything back. That's their job as a parent to sacrifice for you. When you decide to have children, you are agreeing to take care of these children by any means necessary. But you have people, and I'm just using this example, it's not always parents, but you do have people like parents who will be manipulators and will really have you feeling guilty and have you feeling like you have to stay there, you have to help them, you have to do for them, you have to be there for them. But I'm going to tell you something. That's not okay. A real parent, a good parent, want to see you grow. And I'm so tired of that net. I'm going to get it. I don't know if y'all seen that net flying around. I have a balcony and I have my door open just to let some airflow in here. I'm in Arizona. I don't want to turn the AC on, so I have the door open. And that net getting on my nerves. I'm gonna get it. I'm telling you. Anyways, but it is not okay. As children, we should not feel guilty by our parents or by anyone. And I see that a lot, like when I even, just by experience, but also when I listen to those Reddit stories, you see a lot of manipulation by parents. You see a lot of parents making the children feel like the children owe them something. And you have children that are living their lives strictly to take care of their family, to take care of their parents, and they're not moving on and living their own lives. And it's truly sad. But that's a big one. That is a big one. That's very toxic in families when family members make you feel like you owe them something. They make you feel guilty. They make you feel like because we're blood. I'll give you another example that's not as deep, but it's still something that should be looked at. So in my prior life, I was a beautician, barber and cosmetologist, right? So I opened up my own hair salon. So when I opened up my own hair salon, even before that, I was giving out family and friend discounts, right? But it got to a place where I felt like, okay, I have my household bills. I have to pay my rent. I have to pay my light bill. I have to pay for my phone and everything else at home, just at home. But then at this salon, I have to pay for the rent at the salon. I have to pay for the phone bill, the light bill, for advertisements. I have to buy product. I have to buy all of these things, right? And so what I thought about was, okay, all these discounts that I'm giving, and I'm thinking in my mind, like, okay, all these family members that's coming to me and getting their hair done, and all of this money that I'm shaving off for their hair. And I was doing first come, first serve. I don't do appointments. So when they would come, they would be like the first ones in line. So I'm spending so much time doing their hair. And when I'm thinking about all the money that I am not getting by giving them discounts, that's bill money, right? And so I really had to reflect and really think about it and realize, like, this is my business. This is my livelihood. I can't do this anymore. Anybody who sits in my chair and receive this service from me, my hard work that I'm doing on them, anybody who sits here and receive my service, they have to pay full price. And my logic behind that is, if you are my family and you truly care about me, then you want to see me survive. Don't you want me to be able to feed my child? Don't you want me to be able to live? Had I not done your hair and you went to a stranger, you would pay that stranger full price. So if you are paying that stranger full price, excuse me, you are helping them to feed their child, to take care of their child, and they are not even related to you. But then when you want to come to me, you want to expect me to give you a discount. It's over for that. And I had to stop that. And so what I did was I gave a letter to all of my family and friends who are coming to get their hair done. And I let them know, after this date, there will be no more family and friend discounts on the weekend. After that date, there will be no more family and friend discounts at all, period. If you come to me, you have to pay full price. Y'all know they talked about me, right? Like, y'all gotta know that I got talked about like a dog behind my back. Who she thinks she is? She thinks she all that. I'll go to such and such, blah, 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 blah. I didn't care. You know why I didn't care? Because I'm a good person and I'm a good stylist and I performed a good service. And so I knew that if you don't sit in my chair, somebody else will. So I'm saying that to say this, even things like that could be manipulation. Things like that could be toxic. Things like that can make you feel like, you know what? These are not family members I want to deal with, because a real family member, a good family member, would care enough about me to want to see me survive. Right. So, all right, I'll get off of that. But, evaluate your relationships even with your family. So, number 3 is emotional not discriminate. And when I say that, I mean, because when people think about it, I said a lot of times people think that a is just physical, right? Can I say it? Oh, I don't know. I hope I'm not messing up by saying that word. It's kind of sad that we have to be so careful with things like this, but it's very important to talk about, right? So it's not just physical. It's can be emotional. You know what I mean? For example, let's say you made a decision, right? But then the decision that you make, you have those family members that try to um, put you down or manipulate you from that decision that you made as an adult. Even as an adult, you'll have those family members who, if you make a decision that they don't like, then they stop talking to you. They'll like give you the silent treatment. They might not include you in certain situations. For example, I have a friend that my friend has siblings. I don't want to tell all her business, but my friend has siblings who they share a father but not a mother. And a lot of times the siblings shut her out, or if she say or do something that they don't like, instead of them talking to her, they shut her out, or they might be verbally towards her. And the things that she has talked to me about when it comes to that situation is very hurtful. And, it's sad because she didn't ask to be here, you know, and you would think that, these are my siblings. So, we're siblings, we're supposed to be like friends, but that's not always the case. Sometimes your siblings are the most toxic people. Sometimes your siblings are the most abusive people. So even with them, you need to reevaluate your relationship with them. If you are making decisions that you feel are right for you and for your life, and you have people that are trying to make you feel bad about the decisions that you make for your life, and the decisions that you are making are sound decisions. It's not like you're just being careless or irresponsible or anything like that. You are making decisions that you feel are right for you, and they try to talk you out of it or make you feel bad. Let's say, for example, maybe you got a good job and that job is out of town, but the job pays good and it'll help you to be able to take care of your family. You know what I mean? And then you have those family members that, they might try to make you feel bad about leaving, like, oh, what about this? You're supposed to be helping me with this and helping me with that. They don't want to see you grow. They just want to see you staying there and you doing what they want you to do. That's toxic. And family members like that, you need to reevaluate your relationship with them. All right. So, number 4, your inner child deserves protection. Sometimes the part of us, that inner child within us, still needs love. We still need to be loved. When I think about that, I think about um, the relationships that we have with our parents, right? Sometimes some of us are still hurt or still upset about things that happened when we were children. And people might say, oh, well, you grown now, get over it. That's not okay, right? Because as children, a lot of bad things happen to us as kids. And it carries and it stays with us even until our adulthood. And then we become adults. There's triggers that happens, that it still bothers us, right? Um, so there's a trigger for me. There's certain, names that I was called as a child by adults, um, that is very hurtful. And so your inner child needs to be protected, right? So, but you have those family members that they don't care, you know. You might even try to confide in a family member and tell them like, hey, like my one of my parents did something to me that really hurt me, or they said something to me that really hurt me, and they'll be like, "Oh well, that's your mom. Honor thy father, thy mother." Okay, right? Okay. The Bible says, "Honor thy father, thy mother." If you want to take it there, but it also say, "Provoke not your child unto wrath." Right, and that's the part that people forget. And and it's very tough. Like, it's very important to talk about and unpack those childhood wounds, you know what I mean? And when those things are not unpacked and not dealt with, it carries deep into your adulthood. It really does. So for me, when I was coming up, my childhood was not the best, right? And so the names that I was being called and the way that I was being treated by certain members of my family, who I felt like should have been more of a protector for me than what they were, that led me to feel like when I grow up, I'm not letting nobody treat me like that. Not anymore. You know what I mean? When you're younger, certain things you have no control over. And honestly, people are not going to change. You can't change everyone. You cannot change all your family members. You cannot change your friends. And some of those people who are so toxic in your life, you cannot sit around and wait for those people to change. You gonna turn old and gray before they change. So what's important is not for you to wait for them to change, but for you to change. For you to figure out what are those things that hurt you, what triggered you, and work towards healing, right? And healing can come in a form of many things, as far as the road to healing, your path to healing. Maybe for some people, healing is therapy, right? Just going to therapy and talking to a licensed professional. For some people, healing is just, having a good, strong support system of family and friends, or, just one person or someone who you could really talk to and confide in to help you get through it. You know what I mean? Healing could be God. It could be, just maybe getting into a spiritual path of understanding, of learning and understanding who people are, how they operate, but how you can, navigate through life and dealing with those types of people, right? But the main part is healing, right? Because I think a lot of us have those emotional scars when we were younger. A lot of us had really great upbringings. Not everybody had that, but a lot of us do. But for those of us who do have those emotional scars and those things that happened to us in our childhood and those things that we cannot control at that time, it's going to hinder us if we don't work on our healing, if we don't figure out a way to navigate through life without allowing those situations that happen to us with our family to hinder us. I hope that makes sense to you. But it's important to make sure that we have that healing, right? So, lastly, we're going to talk about boundaries, right? That's number 5. Boundaries are an act of self respect, right? I think when it comes to family, we don't always have those boundaries. I think when it comes to family, we put up with a lot when we don't have to. You do not have to put up with things just because that person is your family member, right? It's okay to set up boundaries, right? That's a good place, time to learn, actually, is when you're dealing with your family. So then when you go out to the world, you can put up boundaries with people out in the world. So it's okay to set up boundaries. It's okay to let people know that you're not okay with what they said or what they did to you, whoever that family is, even if that's a parent. We have to get out of a place where we're thinking like, oh, that's my mom, that's my dad, so I can't stand up to them. It's a respectful way that you can stand up to your parents, right? And a lot of times, some parents are just not going to accept it, whether you come respectful or not. So I'm not even gonna just say parents. I'm gonna just family members in general. And when they get to a place where you are setting up those boundaries, right? And those boundaries are constantly being crossed, constantly being crossed. Hey, you got to raise those boundaries even higher, right? It started down here, but now you got to raise them even higher. And that can come in the form of you just cutting that person off, or you having that conversation with that person and letting them know, like, look, I've talked to you so many times and I've really tried to make this work and it's just not going to work. I'm going to have to fall back, right? So it's okay to go no contact with people. If people are constantly hurting you and, constantly just uh overstepping their boundaries or overstepping your boundaries, it's okay to let them go. But I'm going to tell you something, if you believe in God or if you believe in the universe or whatever power that you believe in, trust and believe that there are times when those people are going to be removed from your life without you even trying. And I'm not saying as far as like DEATH or nothing like that, even though that could be it. But what I'm saying is there are times when they would just be removed from your life. They might stop calling you or stop talking to you. And when that happens, goodbye and good riddance. Okay? Because you was toxic anyway. So, but Bottom line is family members, they're family. It's okay to love them, right? But sometimes you gotta love them at a distance. So one thing that I want to add is that um I'm an aunt, right? I'm an auntie. I have a bunch of nieces and nephews, and I love them so much. When I was a kid, I always wanted to have nieces and nephews. I don't know. I just always wanted like to be an auntie, right? And just me coming from being a child, um, there was adults in my family or just adults that I knew who rubbed me the wrong way or who did not treat me in a way that I felt that I should be treated. And that's one thing I always consciously made sure that I thought about in my mind, even as a young person and growing up. I never wanted to be that person. I never wanted to be that person who um, gave a child a horrible experience to the point where it still triggers them as an adult. And we should reflect on that ourselves, especially those of us who are watching this who we're adults now. Like I said in the beginning, your family, they're the first ones who you learn that toxic behavior from. So a lot of us are very toxic as adults, and we need to really think about that. Are you that adult that has given a child or given someone uh that bad taste in their mouth? Are you a trigger for someone? Because that's something that we need to evaluate. You know, when we are here to heal, grow, and glow, it's not about pointing our fingers to everybody else, but it's about self reflection as well. We need to look at ourselves. Are you that toxic family member? Because you could be watching this to to heal from you feeling like that someone else hurt you or someone else did something to you. But I want you, and me myself included, we have to evaluate ourselves and figure out, are we that toxic family member? Because it's very important. Because if we are, just know that as long as you have breath to breathe in your body, you can change. You can evaluate yourself and recognize the error of your ways and figure out a path forward so that you won't continue to be that bad taste in someone's mouth. So you won't continue to be that hindrance. So you won't continue to be that trigger for someone. Because me personally, I have a conscience. And I would hate to find out that I hurt someone or I hurt a child or a young person so deeply that they went no contact with me. Okay. Now, some people are just unreasonable and they'll just stop talking to you because of their own stuff. But it's important for us to evaluate ourselves and recognize and realize, you know, what we are doing in our relationships with our family members. Okay. Because it's not always other people that's doing the toxic stuff. Sometimes it's us, right? And if it is us, we need to figure out what's going on with us. You know, what why are we that family member that people want to go no contact with? Okay. And also, if people do go no contact with you, sometimes you got to accept it. Don't force something. You can't force a square in a circle peg, or however you said, a circle in a square peg. You can't do it. Can't force it. Right. So just like you want people to respect your boundaries, you have to respect other people's boundaries as well. So sometimes when people, mainly when people go no contact with you, their goal, their number one goal is just to protect their peace. That's all. Because you have caused them chaos, right? So now they've gotten to a point where they're like, look, I'm losing my peace and I need to reserve whatever of my peace that I have left. So now I have to let you go. right? So sometimes you have to accept it. Well, that's all I gotta say, guys. Well, thank you so very much for joining. If you found value in this conversation today, I strongly urge you to hit subscribe, like the video, comment, share. Definitely comment. I would love to hear your stories and hear what's going on with you, or if you have other topics that you would like for me to discuss. Please definitely leave it down in the comments. If you do like this conversation, you definitely want to hear this one where we talk about 5 signs of red flags that he showed you and that you completely ignored. Well, thank you for joining. Once again, I'm TT Rosie, your local auntie, and this is Glow Up Girly. Bye.